This is our final meeting.
Yeah, it's a bit ominous, don't you think? I mean,
I suppose you're right. It's like all this trash, an oceanic feeling of wastedness.
something's left over, though, don't you think?
The idea of stepping and not stepping beyond, I'm taking that as a kind of description of what words are, what language is. They're here, and what gives them their power is not here.
I see. In a way, you've got it all covered, don't you?
The eye teaches skepticism, the eyelid teaches faith.
You know, that sounds pretty good, but what does it mean?
Understanding a sentence is much more akin to understanding a theme in music than one might think.
I'm starting to get the melody of what you're saying, I think.
The best criticism should aspire to the status of art. Describing one's experience of art is itself a form of art.
I'll have to go away for a time and ponder that, I suppose.
At my age, I've given up the desire to persuade.
I don't have a persuasion.
And we learn to leave one another not alone, but intact.
Yes, whole.
I describe it as romantic. I literally would tell people, like, I am in love with the bread. Leave us alone. I would be over there, like, figuring her out, trying to understand her, trying to communicate with her, trying to support her to be the best thing that she could be that day. Sometimes she shows up, sometimes she doesn't. And when she doesn't, that has to be okay, because you can't control her. You can only support her. Whoever opens up the bakery comes in and feeds the starter. You're like measuring the temperature of the water, and you're thinking about the day and the weather for the rest of the day and how it was the day before and who talked to you about how it felt. And then you say, okay, well, how am I going to do this today? Then the person who wants to do the mix comes in. Mix it, watch it, take care of it, decide how it's going, how much gluten is built up, what the temperature is, what they want to do, how many folds they want to do, when they want to do those folds, why they're making those decisions. Sometimes they don't have a reason. Some people track every little variable, some people don't. And then, after all the mixing and the folding is done, it's time to shape them. That time of the day when we like pick some good fucking music and someone grabs a big tub of dough and they're quickly portioning it out. And that's the part that's really fun, because that's when you start to make it into its like final iteration. This is like watching your daughter walk down the aisle. Okay, it's like, all right, who are you? Like, not that getting married is the thing that defines you, but you know what I mean. If I'm the dad, and I own my daughter, this is the thing I'm looking for. Anyway, fucked up metaphor aside, that's the bread. Walking down the aisle, because now you're like, who are you? Like, are you good? Do you suck? Is it like, what's gonna happen to you tomorrow? I don't know. But anyway, then you put them in these baskets and you put them in the refrigerator and they go to sleep overnight. And if I am the one putting them in the refrigerator, I swear to God, I actually say good night to them. In the morning or the middle of the night, someone will come in to bake them. Flip these like perfect round little pieces of shit out of their baskets onto these like super hot cast irons. And then you this sounds sacrilege and kind of shitty now that I've described them as my daughter, but you then take a razor blade and you just kind of slice it quickly and deeply and with no fear. Not an exaggeration. That's actually how it goes. The baker is the last line of defense. They're like the one who's helping to put out like the final iteration, which is why I said sometimes she'll surprise you, because sometimes you're shaping the bread the day before and you're like, who are you? And you think you know. You think you know. They seem great or they seem terrible. And then the next day she just totally surprises you when you're like, wow, these turned out beautiful and I totally thought that they were like not going to be ready in the morning. Or like, wow, these turned out horrible but they felt so good yesterday. I wonder what happened.
And then you send them off into the world. Will you tell me about that?
Yeah. Well, they go to market. People buy them. This is my personal opinion. Disclaimer. I really, truly don't really care what people think of them because I love them and I made them. And they can suck my dick if they don't like them. I just don't care. If I put it out, it's because I was fine with it. And if someone else in the bakery says, I don't like that, then that's cool because it's like our collective baby. And if you don't want it to go out, I will not fight with you because I trust you. The reason also that I don't care is because generally those people have no idea about any of the things I just told you. And if they do, they are romanticizing it, not in the way that I just did. Like, my romanticism is because I actually know her and am in love with her. You can't look at my girlfriend and say that you love her when I'm like, you actually don't know her. You've never seen her at her worst. Please stop. Like, you don't know what this takes. This was like discipline and hard work and pain. And now we're here and in love. So I don't want you judging our relationship from over there. And I think some people find it romantic to send their things out in the world and watch people enjoy them. And sometimes that is really nice. I do like to see people enjoy the things that I make. But it matters much more to me when I watch people who I love enjoy the things that I make.
The old woman found that death felt like waking in the blackness of night after the pounding storm, the wild storm that raged and defeated her. Hearing the rushing away of runoff in the storm drain and feeling herself becoming osmotically drawn into it, microscopic, rushing on that roiling water, away, away, and eventually meeting the sea.
But then the thing is that the idea of heaven is already sneaking away into some immensity that isn't right here in the smallest of now.
When my mother first died, in the liminal space of losing your parent and like the parent that made you with their body, I think something fundamentally changes about you. I felt completely untethered. Like, in my mind, there was this image of like, there was a connection that I had that I did not realize was keeping me upright. And then all of a sudden it was gone and I was like in the dark and I like couldn't figure out how to stand up anymore. And it was with that feeling that I would like walk around the streets of Los Angeles and just look at things and think like, I can't believe she's never gonna just see that with her eyes because she doesn't exist anymore. It would be like wrought iron fences and like every single spoke of the fence would be like, she'll never see that, she'll never see that, she'll never see that, or a crack on the sidewalk, and I would just be like, her eyes will never like take in the photons that tell your brain that that's a crack on the sidewalk. And I would just think about that all the time. And I think now that I'm here in Seattle, that feeling has largely dissipated. I think I've come to like a place of feeling comfortable without her. And, you know, grief is not a straight line. There's days when it's worse and days when it's okay. And now I don't walk around thinking like she'll never see this, but there's definitely times when like I think about what I do miss, and I think I miss being seen and loved in a way that only your mom can see and love you, because she like made you. And I think that definitely comes through when I'm creating things like food. Like when I throw together stuff and you guys like it, I like make a salad or I make some flatbread or whatever. And it's like really beautiful, or like I'm proud of it and it's liked. And then I just think about how like if I sent my mom a picture of that, and like she would definitely say like that's awesome, not just because I'm her daughter, but also because I think she would see the care and like what I did there, and she would like appreciate the discipline and the hard work and the love that it took to like get to the place where I could create stuff like that, and she would like be proud. Another thing that I would think of right after she died was like I would look at my hands all the time and just be like, she literally made me with her body, like formed me and birthed me and then cared for me as a larva. And then, also gave me a lot of trauma. But literally, like, I would just look at my hands and be like, she made my body. And then I think about, like, what it would take for me to do that. And, like, what it would take for me to take on that role for someone else. And I think that in reality, like, the final meeting is me stepping into that role. And I think maybe I'll find some new wisdom when I'm actually in that place. Maybe I'll feel more connected to her. I think my fear is that I just realize how alone I am. But I would really like for that not to be true, because that would be terrifying and lonely.
Yeah, I don't know if we can ever escape the loneliness, but you've got a lot of love in your life, and that's been consistent.
Yeah, you gotta, like, cultivate it when it's so fleeting.
Yeah, I feel that way. I love you.
I love you too. Good boundaries.
Very professional, right?
Very professional.